Welcome back to the spiritual download this morning. Welcome. So, talking about making progress, or how do you know that you're making progress on the path of meditation? Perhaps you do other hobbies where you actually see how you're making progress. So for example, playing guitar. You're maybe learning more chords, you're learning more songs, and you can see the progress. Basketball, you start to make more shots, you start to get in better shape, you're able to, play defense for a long time. But on meditation, because it's a lot of it's in the mind, it might be harder to see how we're making progress on the meditation path. I think one of them is one of the main things is you start to let go and reduce the amount of addictions or subtle addictions that we have. And one of the ones I was thinking about this morning, I was live on Instagram this morning talking about TV and video games. For me personally, I grew up watching a lot of TV, even though I was outside a lot too, playing a lot of sports, but I was inside as a teenager, especially watching a lot of TV, and that captured my attention, right, quite a bit. And then when you're in like regular life, you're at school or at work or driving or going for a walk, you find it a little bit boring because your attention span is so short that you get used to just like looking around and interpreting and judging and a lot of that kind of stuff. Like, you just have a lot of monkey mind, as they say. So monkey mind is not necessarily bad. It's like entertainment, right? Even watching movies is not bad. I think there's lots of movies that have spiritual value, actually, or even just life value, learning life lessons. I think spirituality is life. Because spirituality is just what is, Same with meditation. Meditation is the conscious awareness of what is. So, and how do you see that you're making progress, right? Is you're losing these addictions, you're losing that sense of like boredom, and you choose to meditate or do yoga or go for a walk rather than watch a movie that might not have spiritual value. And you might know in your heart, just through your intuition, your gut intuition, your heart intuition, whether a movie does or does not have spiritual value. I'm not saying to stop watching movies at all. I have kind of loose rules. So it's kind of all you kind of interpret it in the moment, or just every situation is so unique. Sometimes you might realize, watching a movie sounds good. I want to watch a movie tonight. But most of the time you actually choose like yoga or meditation over the movie. It's just a percentage. Like at first, you don't meditate. So 100% of your attention goes to movies and entertainment. And then you start meditating for the first time. Maybe you watched a YouTube video, or a school teacher taught you, or your professor talked about meditation. And then you start trying. Maybe, good morning. Maybe you start trying meditation, and then you get interested in it. And it's really difficult at the beginning. And maybe you start judging yourself. I would judge myself for being so bad at meditation. Again, it's not like our fault. It's not our fault for being bad at meditation. It's really just the environment we grew up in. It's the genetics that we have. So not blaming yourself for being a bad meditator is good. I mean, just think about it, like going back to the guitar or basketball example. You're not going to be good right away. You're not going to be good at guitar right away. Like right now, I just started practicing the guitar. I don't even have that much time to do it because I focus on other things a lot. So I just learned 2 chords. I only know 2 chords. I've strummed it a couple of times. I've literally only practiced like 45 minutes of guitar so far. But sports, I grew up playing a lot of sports, so I've put a lot of time into sports, and I see I've gained a lot of skill. You just get more skilled at the things that you do a lot, right? The rule of 10,000 hours. Anything you do for 10,000 hours, you get good at. It just becomes second nature. But at the beginning, you just struggle. You have to struggle through it. It's like the struggle is how you get better. And it's actually the attention too. It's that drive to get better. So why are we driven to get better in certain things but not others, right? So I think that's really important, is having just that inner motivation to get better in meditation. If you don't have that drive, that's okay. That's okay. But like for me, I've always had the drive to know more about truth, or more what's real. I've liked TV, I've liked movies and things like that. But there's something more deep in me that just wants to know, or wants to experience, what is really real, or like what is really true. I think that's something really, really powerful, and maybe that's a whole nother like, factor or characteristic that you can point to see your progress on the path, is that you just become more genuinely interested in becoming better, in becoming a better meditator. Or even if you're not improving your meditation, you see it in life as like, oh, I'm no longer saying that judgment, or I'm no longer getting addicted to certain thoughts or mental loops I used to go through, things like that. And that you want to be in that peaceful state. So, and also you just get more used to not watching TV. Another progress that you notice is that you just get interested in the peace because in TV and video games, you just get so honed in on them. Like they just take so much attention in the room. So for me, like, since I've stopped watching a lot of TV and I don't play any video games at all, if I walk into a room that has a TV on, it just demands my attention, and it just I feel something in my body say oh wow, that's really loud. That's feeling when people just play really loud music, and it's kind of annoying because it's taking up so much space. And with TV, people watch TV so loudly, or movies are so loud. People play even video games so loudly that it's not just visual distraction, but it's also audio distraction. So it's like two of your senses are just getting so bombarded by by the TV. Which again, it's not bad if you're watching a really high quality movie, then you just get so invested in the story, a beautiful story, for example, or a beautiful documentary. One of my favorite documentaries, I think it's titled Human Flow, I want to say, and it's about immigration from Africa or Syria to Europe. And I found it to be a beautiful film myself. I like films that are really quiet. I've started to do that. That's why Curious Case of Benjamin Button is one of my favorite movies, actually. A lot of people haven't even seen the movie, but it's a Brad Pitt movie. I like Brad Pitt, so. But the movie's very quiet and slow moving, and it kind of focuses on there's something about life that is just inherently magical, is one of the things that I got from that movie. But there are many other movies out there that have a lot of spiritual value, I would say. But again, basically beginning to choose the path of spirituality rather than our old addictions is a huge way of seeing that you're making progress. And just the that percentage, how frequently am I choosing to still play video games or still watch a movie, or just general attention span, attention span distractions. Again, that's not your fault. I mean, in school, we're taught to have bad attention span because we're just moving from one activity to another. We're never really able to sit and like meditate, kind of. We're not able to sit there and just ponder or daydream or feel the space of the room or go outside and look at the sky or the birds. That's a whole nother state of mind, or even a lack of mind, you could say. And you're just kind of in the moment, allowing the mind or the body to do what it wants, and kind of seeing it from afar, like seeing that your mind is something that you can be aware of, right? The word would be metacognition. Meta meaning going beyond or above, and then cognition meaning thinking. So kind of catching yourself being metacognitive, right? Saying, oh wow, I just saw my mind do some sort of mental loop, and I just watched it happen, and I didn't like get attached to it. It just kind of went through me. I like just kind of went through my mind. It's like a cloud, like the thought was like a cloud that kind of just went past you, or the cloud dissolved, and then now you just have the blue sky again, right? So the sky is always there, but sometimes you just see storms and clouds like just kind of pass by. I really think that's a good metaphor for the mind, because there's nothing wrong with clouds. There's nothing wrong with storms. I mean, there's lots of benefits like rain and things like this. But just kind of the nature, you see like clouds constantly are merging with one another, constantly being created, and then constantly dissipating as well. You have days that are mostly cloudy, then you have days that have like zero clouds. So seeing that the mind is kind of like that is really, really interesting. It's a really powerful metaphor, I think. Because also it's not just that, like the sky is so expansive. You don't see any limits to the sky. And I think that's true with our awareness, with our mind, and our mind as well. It's so expansive. It's so much greater than we've ever thought before. Like before we meditated, or before we lost our addiction to TV, we didn't really know how expansive our awareness can be, or because theoretically it's you're able to pay attention to anything, and like even the clouds are in your awareness, right? The sky is in your awareness. The earth is in your awareness. Because so when you start to see that, you're like, wow, I am huge. My awareness is huge. Like it's so expansive. Yet, I thought I was just this body the whole time. Like I thought I was just this mind right here, this body here. But I'm also like, not just here, I'm also like everywhere that I can be aware of too. Right. So it's just so expansive, so expanding. And it feels really good to note and notice how big you are, and that like there's so many things that can happen in this environment of awareness, that can just kind of happen and then move on, and then time or awareness just kind of moves on from that event, and you don't get like attached to it. Say it's an experience of a song. Maybe you listen to a song, it brings you some sort of emotion. The song ends, and then you're like, oh, that was an interesting experience. And then you have that moment like, should I listen to another song, or should I do another activity, or should I meditate? And then if you choose like, oh, let me just kind of sit there and in the silence, maybe after the song, you're like, huh, what did I experience? Or you don't even think, you don't have to think about it. Just experience the feeling of, wow, that song was powerful, or that song was just not that good. And then you start to like lose your addiction even to music. That's a big one. Is some people listen to music all the time and they're never like in a quiet space. So I think music is great, but like live music is, I would say, has more value than like listening to the radio all day. You know, some people are listening to the radio all day at work, or all weekend, and there's never a point where the playlist is paused. You know, it's in those moments of the pause between the playlists. You know, you have the opportunity to be really quiet, um, and that's when you have those moments of expansion of awareness. It's like, wow, everything's so quiet, so still, so peaceful. Um, and then your mind comes in and might distract you, but then you come right back. Like then that thought leaves or it dissipates, and you just come right back to that peaceful, expansive awareness. And you're like, wow, this is really nice. Like I can get distracted for a few minutes or maybe an hour, 2 hours, but then I can come right back to like this peace, peaceful awareness of the sky, the birds, the trees, other people, things like this. You just become aware of it. And I would say the next step after that is being aware of awareness itself. You know, that's a little bit more of, it's hard, that's harder to talk about. But once, but that's just kind of an experience that one could have on the path, which would be another, you know, point, something we could point to that we're making progress, is if you do have had that experience, or like, yeah, I am kind of aware of my own awareness, not just aware of my mind, but I'm aware of my awareness, which is aware of the mind, right? So just becoming more and more meta, more and more expansive. So yeah, so, and also just being a little bit more calm in situations, right? Like I can get really excited, really animated while talking. Um, but then it's like a reminder to slow down, quiet down, and just enjoy being calm. Because again, our culture, Western culture, American, Europe, like we're just pushed to work hard all the time, and like work is never enough. We're never doing enough work. Um, and then you feel judgment in your own mind, like, oh, I'm not working hard enough, I'm not working as hard as other people. That just leads to like judgment. Right? And judgment is distracting. So just kind of seeing that, like, yeah, we are inherently enough. I don't have to work 80 hour weeks to feel like I'm doing work or being a valuable member of society. Um, and like really anything you do, any work that you do is valuable. Any work. Um, and really, I think spirituality itself is work. So whether you're, you know, working at the grocery store, like working at the grocery store is very important. But if you double that with mindfulness, double that with spirituality, now you're being productive in two different ways. You're at work, or you are a working person, and you're a spiritual person, and you're a meditator, right? And you bring that into your life. Then you're like doubly productive, right? So whether you are fully working, or you have a blend, or you're fully in the spiritual path, you know, maybe you're a monk, or maybe you're a meditation teacher, um, or something like that, where you're 24/7 of your time is spiritual, dedicated to spirituality, right? It can be any. Um, some people are bringing value in life just by working and serving others as well. So just, you know, people are on that spectrum, whether you're fully focused on meditation or fully focused on work. You know, work is service. But I think it's important to find some sort of blend of one of, because I find that a spectrum again, like I said. So finding some sort of blend, like, yes, I work, but I'm also spiritual. Um, or yes, I'm busy, but I'm also spiritual. But also, you can actually reduce the busyness to have more time to meditate, or vice versa. Maybe you meditate a lot, and then you might actually get really comfortable in the meditation, and then like the idea of working a part-time job is scary. Maybe you have fear of getting back into life a little bit. Maybe you have some fear of throwing yourself out there and meeting people who don't meditate, right? Sometimes we judge other people. Like for me, I might judge people because they don't meditate, right? But again, that's just another layer of ego. It's just another layer of ego of me judging others, right? So trying to get above that is, and just seeing that you're doing that, right? Metacognition, like noticing that you are still judging people, which means you're not seeing who they are actually. You're not seeing exactly who they are, because who they are, right? What are we? What are we deep down? You know, whatever you believe humans are deep down, that's what we are. I mean, we're not, this is not a belief system, but you can see it as you meditate more. But like, who we are is not just the body. We're not just the thoughts. We're not just the character that we are at work. We're not just the character that we are with our family. You're not just your persona. We're also like much more. We're much deeper than just that. So, and seeing and really feeling into that, who you really are, right? Self-inquiry. And if you start doing that, again, that's kind of a nice thing to point to as progress, is like that you have interest in going inwards a little bit more. Like, do I enjoy learning more about myself, right? And it's kind of scary as well. But how do you overcome something is like by overcoming the fear of it. Maybe the fear is the root of the problem. Like maybe it's not the problem itself, maybe it's the fear of it, right? So having fear of taking up a job, if we meditate a lot, and then there's might be a fear that we get attached to the job, or that we might drain our energy by working a part-time job. But knowing that like your energy is infinite, like the amount of energy that you have to be your heart, to be your true self, that's infinite. Not the energy of the body, not the energy of the mind, because you need to eat and you need to go to sleep. So that's not infinite. But I mean, like the energy of your heart, the energy of your intuition, energy of your soul and spirit, the energy of God, energy of the universe, that's infinite. And so if you think about it, if you're living in your truth, the truth itself is of infinite energy. So by tapping into that, then you're tapping into infinite energy, right? By being yourself. So I think that's really, really important as well, is not judging yourself for not wanting to take a job, or if you're on the other side of that spectrum where you are a hard worker, maybe you work 60 hours a week to make a lot of money, and you've never tried meditation before. Just kind of giving it a try is just usually the first step. Kind of recognizing the fear that you might have for sitting with your own thoughts, recognizing the reluctance to sit down and meditate, and you ask yourself, where is that coming from? Why am I reluctant to meditate? Why am I reluctant to do yoga? Why am I reluctant to do that retreat? Any retreat, where you get out of your routine. And a lot of those are online now, so you can access a retreat from anywhere in the world anytime. But I mean, anything that is spiritual, like just noticing the fear of trying that, if you're not that spiritual of a person, or if you're just in the beginning of the path and it's a little bit scary, just seeing and recognizing and being honest, I do have some fear around that. Maybe self-expression, right? Part of growing up in spirituality, the progress is like finding more self-esteem, finding your voice to really express who you are, and just kind of expressing it without judging yourself or thinking about how others are going to judge you. So a lot of people have that fear of like, how will I be judged, or how will I be thought of by others if I did kind of just freely express who I am, right? So noticing that, like, how good it feels to self-express, and then noticing the fear that we have if we are reluctant to fully express who we are. And one of those is like through what you wear, the clothes that you wear, figuring out what you want to wear in the morning. A lot of that is mind, like, what should I wear? Like, how do I portray myself to others? And that's one of the big things with clothes, is like, clothes can either be really practical, like a sweater keeps you warm. That's really practical. You don't have to think about it too much. Like, you don't have to think like, how are others gonna think about the fact that I'm wearing sweatpants or something like that, right? But like when we wear things that aren't that practical and we do it just for reasons of self-expression, that's pretty cool too. But sometimes we get attached to that idea. How are others gonna think about this? So just kind of being aware and seeing the loops that your mind goes through while choosing what to wear. It's just kind of an interesting thing that I've dealt with in life. In high school, really worrying about how others would perceive what I'm wearing, and then in college also, but a little bit less. Started just wearing jeans, sweatpants, just a sweatshirt. I stopped really caring about what kind of shoes. I just started wearing hiking boots all the time in college, by my senior year and stuff. But part of that is also like part of that also, if is it becomes your thing not to, or you try to be like a simple person, or like that's something that you could also get attached to, is like, oh, I'm a hipster, or I'm a hippie. I don't care what I wear. I don't care how I look. That is also something that you can get attached to, because it also feels good to look good as well. So recognizing, I like to dress up sometimes. I like feeling good about myself. I like looking good, and just kind of recognizing that too. Right. So there's lots of things to note or notice in your own mind, and just kind of seeing it from afar, and being able to notice what's going on for me. What are my patterns? What are my thinking patterns? What are my little subtle addictions? And the reason why I say subtle is because they're hard to see. They're really, really hard to see. And there's millions of them, millions of subtle addictions. And one of the main ones is the mind, is the overthinking itself. The monkey mind itself is the distraction. So that's kind of the root of a lot of our subtle addictions, is, the monkey mind itself. The fact that we have a bad attention span, the fact that we can't see our mind maybe from afar, but getting better at that. Having the desire like I said, having the motivation to get better, to be more mentally healthy, the desire to have more self-esteem. That's the key. That's really, really, really one of the keys to getting better, is just the desire to get better. And I think, how do we know that we're getting better? Or how do we know what getting better looks like? How do we know what self-actualization actually looks like? Well, you can read about it, you can study it. It's called Maslow's hierarchy of needs, actual self-actualization. You can read the characteristics. Otherwise, you can really feel into it. And you just kind of know, or basically you've seen people on YouTube or TV or someone like that who has a lot of confidence and loves themselves, and is kind of they've seen like their full potential in a way, or they've even become their greatest self, and those are the people you can learn from, or those are the people that you just intuitively know have worked on themselves and have improved themselves and have the motivation to it's almost like a warrior like mentality to get better, to meditate, right? The last thing is, like, you can kind of begin to envision what you can be in the future, what your body mind can look like, as it's like a kind of a reflection of high consciousness, right? So like, you see that high consciousness is like the end of the path. That's the path, or that's the cookie that you want to eat, is high consciousness. That's like the gift that you want to receive. The body and the mind can reflect that, or it can be evidence. Basically, the less attachment that we have to the body and the mind is one thing, but then also the improvement, the development of your body, the development of your mind is also key. It's not just the letting go of the body and the mind. It's actually harder to let go of a body or a mind that is unhealthy, or that doesn't want to get better, or does have many, many subtle addictions. Letting go of that body, or being disattached from that body mind, is difficult. But when you're really good, when your body and your mind are really healthy, if your mind is really open and you know many things, and then your body is in good shape, it's in good health, and you're also able to maybe hold high energies, high spiritual energy in your body system through yoga, you could say. Like, if you do yoga or tai chi, you're bringing spiritual energy into your body, right? So that body is much more easy to not be attached to, because you can go in and out of it. Like, you can expand to huge awareness, or you can be in your body and feeling into your body, and you could do both. That's that's a lot of progress you've made on the path, if that's the case, right? Rather than only seeing myself as the limited mind body, and only seeing that. And that's where people start, which is okay. It's okay to start from there. That's where I started, and not just started, but I was that way for a long time. Believing I was only my mind body. But you progress on the path. You begin to notice your thoughts. Begin to notice your addictions, things like that. So, and also, have that envision. Who can I be in the future, or what will I be in the future? Hopefully you're motivated to be one of those people that carry high consciousness, or become high consciousness. All right, that's it. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Have a peaceful Sunday and be rejuvenated for another week. Peace.